And I hate to even bring it up, but you brought it up off air, so I cannot. And again, I know it was a huge game for you, but that '06 Florida game, and I still tell people to this day, maybe it's biased because those first couple of Spurrier teams, I became probably a diehard fan when I was 11 or 12 in like 2002, beginning of '03. Yeah. So like those first couple of Spurrier teams, and I think for a lot of Gamecock fans too, really hold a special place. There's so many names from those teams that you can just rattle off, great players. And again, so maybe it's that bias coming out, but I still almost say to this day, that '06 Florida game, that's probably the best I've ever seen a South Carolina team play and lose. I mean, really, that was an incredible game. And you think of that Florida team won the national title, but you were on the field that final kick. Ryan Suckup goes out there, and we all feel good. I mean, Suckup, like you said, he's still doing it, nailing bombs. Jarvis Moss, who, by the way, should not have even been playing, should have been suspended. He blocks the kick, and I think he had blocked one earlier, right? An extra point or something. Maybe it was another field goal.
They had already blocked a field goal and an extra point prior to the last kick. So we go out on the field, and Urban called a timeout, and then Spurrier said, "Hey, you guys stay on the field. You guys don't come over." So we just sat there, and we had a minute and a half to talk. That stadium was just shaking, and we just sat on the field. We're like, Suckup's like, I'm good. Scott, perfect snap. I kind of mentioned this earlier. I got my cousin plays for Florida. I got all these friends at Florida that are on the team there. And I know this is going to be the biggest play of South Carolina history if we can knock them out of the national championship. And sure enough, I mean, Suckup would still say today, I hit it perfect. I mean, and the ball was just, Jarvis Moss's arm was a whole arm over everyone else on the team, and he caught it on his fingertips. But I can remember the second that ball was kicked, I heard the crowd just go crazy. And that was it. I had everyone jumping in my face that I knew and laughing and running around. And we were just like, man, that was it. I mean, but that's probably, I mean, shoot, you look back at for Florida, that's the best play they've had in 20 years. I mean, that would go down as the best play in their history. They went on to win the championship that year. So, man, that was that one hurt though. That was big old play.
That was I think that was the first time I ever cried watching a South Carolina football. That might be the last time I ever cried watching a South Carolina football game, honestly. Yeah, honestly.
If I say down here in Orlando, if I say, hey, if someone said you played, I'm like, yeah, I held the field. They're like, 06? I'm like, yeah. They're like, dang, that was the play for us.
Yeah. So, and I was going to kind of just ask you again, because it just sounds like it was just Jarvis Moss just made a play. It wasn't anything that we did that, I mean, just you can't really do anything.
No, it was a perfectly hit kick. Suckup said he'd have made it by 10 yards. Jarvis Moss just, I mean, and it wasn't going to be a low kick. I mean, it wasn't a low kick either. He just was that high above everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there was like some BS non-call on a pass interference. I don't know. Just the home cooking in Gainesville that got us that.
I know.
Yeah, the home cooking for sure. I want to ask you about holding for Suckup, man, because, again, like you said, you still have a relationship with him. And, I mean, we see what he's doing in the league, just hitting bombs. Yeah. The dude's leg is a cannon. I mean, talk about that. I mean, because, again, he hit that big one against Clemson too. But, Suckup was a guy, I think, he might still have like the longest field goal hit in school history, maybe. I know he hit some bombs. That's all I know. He hit some long ones.
I can remember warming up at Arkansas. So at Arkansas, it's real windy. It was only one time we played there. We played at Little Rock actually early on in my career. Then we played at Fayetteville. But I can remember him hitting 75-yard field goals pre-Arkansas game. Now, when you got the ball up in the air there, the ball traveled. But we were right where they were doing their warm-ups pregame. But Suckup was probably more than anyone, he was a perfectionist. I mean, still is, I'm sure. But he was more, you take a group of rowdy specialists, that was me and a few of the other guys out there. And then you had Suckup, who was a little more laser focused. And I'm sure that's why he is still in the league this many years later and had such a great career. But, I mean, it was all about reps. I mean, and when he missed one, I mean, it bothered him. I mean, he couldn't move on past missing that one. So he'd go out the next week, we'd kick 300 field goals instead of 100 because there was one that hit the goalpost. So that's why he's so good. I mean, just a perfectionist, great person. I mean, you can't beat him, but he's, I've been super pumped watching him and seeing how successful he's been.
And I was going to say, he didn't miss very many. He doesn't miss very many, period.
No.
Again, I wanted to get you to expand on that 2006, that Clemson game. I mean, because I think a lot of people, maybe some, forget about that one. They think of Jadine missing. They don't remember Ryan Suckup making, which it was a really long one. That was a big kick. And again, you can expand on that game and just, you know, it's kind of funny. You're holding for your guy to take the lead and you watch their guy miss. And I mean, the celebration is on.
Yeah. So that was so I locally here, my high school rival was Will Proctor. So he was a quarterback at Trinity Prep. I was quarterback at First Academy. And so we, I mean, they'd had our number the previous years. And I, you know, you're always kind of hoping that it comes down where you have a chance to be involved in a play late in the game that, you know, can make a difference and kind of be remembered in history. And it was just one of those, it came down to it. And again, Suckup was always very confident, just like the Florida game, you know, he's going to make the field goal. And I can remember just when that thing went in, knowing that we just beat Clemson. And, you know, everyone used to always talk, then the whole Jad Dean miss was real hot in everyone's mind. So everyone's like, man, you know, that's the last time when he made that, you know, when he missed that field goal. So it was but that was probably top 1 or 2 plays from my experience there at South Carolina.